Hey Kate, it's Aaron Maller from Parallax, and I'm just checking out the family that you sent over. Looks really cool. So you have the different types set up, and they're working with visibility parameters that have the three different sizes, which is really cool. This is a great first step, and it's awesome to see you working on building some of these things. What I'm going to do with the version that I'm going to try to make real quick is see if we can do this without possibly having to have three different versions. That way, if you want to make a whole bunch of different sizes and options, you can do that. So to start, what I'm doing is I'm just putting a reference plane everywhere that we have points of this shape, aside from the top, which is changing its location. So I'm just making those, and I'm going to put some dimensions on these. And because the scale of this view is really small, I'm going to change that just so it's a little easier to read. I'm going to lock this 1/4 inch down, and then I'm going to place these two dimensions here, and I'm going to lock them as well. So we're locking them because when this whole thing changes size, we don't need those dimensions to change at all. We just need it to basically change at the top. So we're going to lock all that down. And then I'm going to see, I added a plane in here, so that's going to go to the top. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get rid of the two smaller options here. And I'm going to take this shape, and first thing I'm going to do is delete it. Well, I'll leave it there for a minute. I'm going to go in with reference lines now, and we didn't have much time to talk about this in training class, but reference planes don't really have angles because they kind of go on forever. So what's interesting is that's where reference lines come in, because they actually have endpoints and officially have angles. So what I'm going to do is sketch some reference lines in there. I forgot a plane. We need another one right there. I'm going to lock that and that down like so. And again, going back to our training class, we're always going to lock the reference planes. We're not actually going to lock the sketch itself. And basically, that's going to be our shape right there. So one thing that we didn't really talk about in class is, because we didn't use any reference lines at the time, but when you draw these reference lines, they have endpoints, and the endpoints can also get locked to these reference planes. And I'm just systematically hiding to make sure I don't misalign to the wrong thing. So I'm aligning twice for each point, once to an X point or an X plane and once to a Y plane, basically. So what we have now is those should be constrained, and then I'm going to do that at the top as well. And you'll see that when I hover, there's a little dot there. That's the end of the reference line. And now what I should be able to do, we'll see if it worked. I should be able to put a dimension, a parameter constraint on this, and say height. And now, and keep in mind, this is going to do the exact same thing as what you made before. My hope is what we can do now is when these are gone, we can make this simply say 3.25 inches. And we can make the 4.5 version say 4.5 inches. And we can make the 6.5 version say 6.5 inches. And you'll see that just like what you had done with the yes/no parameters, when you make different types, of course, that value can cycle, which is great. So again, it's not to say that this is going to work any better in the project. This will just give you more flexibility, because in the future, let's say you want to add in like 6 more types. As I'm sure you found, every time you want to add a new one, you've got to add it in and then cycle through all the other types and uncheck all the visibility parameters. So this will basically make it so that you won't need all the extra visibility parameters, which is nice. So I'm going to sketch this and lock it to those reference lines and then to the planes that make up the rest of the sketch. And I'm kind of zipping along while I talk through this, so if I've messed up a constraint here and there, this may break, but we'll take a look and see what it does. There is our type, and then we'll try flexing it, and there it goes. And then we'll try flexing it again, and there it goes. If you want, you have this on video now. Give it a whirl. Try doing it yourself. I'll send you this family back. But it's really cool that you started to make this for the wall-based detail component. I'm guessing that you're putting it in some sections or probably some sections is my guess. But you can also now make this exact same thing out of a profile, where instead of having this filled region in here, you'll just have lines going around it. And if it's a profile family, then you can load this in and use it for all of the different roof fascias that we talked about when we were modeling wall base. So awesome that you guys are getting into this week, and talk to you soon.